Not moving and drive, guys. Not a good sign. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the AutomoBoerst YouTube channel. I'm Paul. Today, I have another new vehicle. I have this 2013 Chevy Malibu. The listing on Facebook Marketplace said that it needs a new transmission. The guy said he was driving it. It jumped really hard and was in limp mode. He was able to drive it home, and once he got it home, he kind of just parked it, took it to a local shop, and they told him needs a new transmission. So last night I went and checked it out and scanned the codes, and there's a couple codes, and some of the codes that were still there were from repairs that were done from that shop previous, and so I cleared them all out so I could have a fresh thing. I took it for a test drive, and this thing is shifting through the gears, no problem, up and down and going just fine. I mean, I don't think it's a transmission. So I decided, even if it has an issue, I'm gonna fix it, and we're gonna get something out of this. So I took it and paid the guy, got the keys, got the title, drove home, got about 10 minutes into the drive before I felt the jerk that he was talking about. It went into limp mode. It went from 6th gear all the way down to 3rd gear, and on these transmissions, the 6T40, it will go into 3rd gear when it is in limp mode to protect itself, and I was like, okay, perfect. So we're gonna see right now when that happened last night. I took a little bit of a video for you guys. What's up, guys? Joining me here on the side of the road. It is very dark out, and I just picked up a car. It's a 2013 Chevy Malibu, and issues with shifting and going into limp mode. I'm driving it home. I'm gonna get it about an hour home like this. I was driving for about 10 minutes, going just fine, shifting through the gears, and then all of a sudden it jerked. Check engine light came on, so I'm gonna scan it again right now. We got the scanner hooked up, and we're gonna read the codes, and then we're gonna go from there and see what's happening. So hopefully I can clear the codes again and make it a little bit of distance and put the car in manual mode and test that out. And then we'll go from there. So I'll check back in with you guys in a minute. And the code that it ended up being was a P07BF-00. And that is a low input from the speed input shaft sensor, something like that. It basically is what measures the speed of the engine going into the transmission, and the transmission freaked out because it lost that reading and went into limp mode, and the engine had a code, one code, and it was because the transmission told the engine to turn on the check engine light. So I limped it home the rest of the way, and now mind you, it fine, 1st through 3rd, slow to start, like normally a limp mode, you're press the gas, it's gonna take a little bit to get going, but I ended up making it home, and I parked it right there last night, and that is where it has stayed until now. I got home from work, and so we're gonna get this pulled into the garage and get some heat going in here, get this door shut, and we're gonna take a look at the sensor that it is, and I will explain more in a second. So the part that it has said has failed is the input turbine speed shaft sensor, or shaft speed sensor. It's a mouthful. Anyway, I believe if you look at this diagram here, it is actually the A one. It's designated as speed input A. I believe it is external to the transmission. So we're gonna get in here, we're gonna take the battery out, we're gonna get the battery tray out of the way, and then we're gonna see if we can see that sensor, and then go ahead and get it removed, and then go get a replacement, pop the replacement in, and see what that does. But I may even just clean this one first and see what it does. Clean it, pop the battery back in, clear the error codes, take it for a little test drive, we can see what happens. Okay. Now that I have it jacked up and I can see under here, we can take a look right there. That is the sensor I'm looking for. It goes into the transmission right there. I think that's the plug-in right there. I'm not sure how that plugs into a harness or anything, so we're gonna have to pull that out and we're gonna have to take a look. So let me get that out and then we'll be right back. All right, guys. I don't think that sensor is actually bad. I think what happened is, let's see if I can get any more. When I was down here, I pulled it out of the trans, and let's see. It had little bits, just tiny little bits, you know, like typical wear and tear on transmission, just tiny, tiny, tiny little pieces of metal. Not even like you could feel it. It was like a paste. And these input speed shaft sensors work with magnetism, so it detects using a magnet inside the sensor, and if it gets coated with metal, it's going to be throwing the wrong value pretty frequently. So what I'm thinking of doing here is cleaning this off. The inside of here has got a little bit of metal on here too, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flush this trans fluid. He said he had it done about 20,000 miles ago, but really you should do these like 2 to 3 times according to people online, because you have torque converters or whatever it's called, you have little pieces that aren't going to drain, and I'm thinking that's what happened. I'm thinking some of that little pieces of metal were in there, they got sloshed around when the trans fluid was changed. It unsettled from where it had settled in and worked its way down here to the sensor. And again, it's magnetic. It pulled those pieces of metal to it, clogged itself up, and kind of screwed up. So what I think we're gonna do is, I think I'm gonna drop this trans fluid. I'm gonna refill it. I'm gonna let the car run and probably drive it around a little bit and see how it feels after I clear the codes. So let's get this sensor put back in first. Let's get this trans fluid dropped, and then we'll go from there. Check this out, guys. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but that is almost a brown color, and it should be a reddish pink. That is nasty. There's contaminants in there. So we're gonna go ahead and drop all this. You can see that in there, gross. I'm gonna drain all this out. Pretty much gonna make sure this doesn't overfill, and then I'll go to the store and get some more fluid. It's 6.3 for the initial capacity and a 9 quarts for a total fill. And this is a 7-quart container, so I need to get something else to get some fluid. My main container's full. Hold on, guys. I'm trying. All right. This one needs dumped, but if I need to, I can switch them. So check it out, guys. I got the old fluid removed, and look at this. It's kind of hard to see here. Go ahead and take a look at that there. See how dark and brown it is? That should not look like that. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna clean this container back out. I'm gonna put a little bit of the new fluid in so you can get a feel for what it should look like. And all right, here's what it should look like. Look at the difference in the color. My thought is, he said it was changed. I'm guessing they changed it around the time he got it, but they didn't flush it. They just dropped it, left what was in there, and the total fill is 9 quarts, but the pre-fill is 6.3, so that is still 2.7 quarts that's elsewhere within the transmission and all the other pieces. All that mixed together is just gonna make it go bad even faster. It's gonna get nasty. So I'm filling up new fluid now. I got 1 gallon in there already. I need to pull this, and then I need to put 2.3 quarts more in there. I'm gonna drop it down. I'm gonna go take it for a drive. I'm gonna get the battery back in first. I'm gonna take it for a drive it around a little bit, let it warm up, and then yesterday it happened about 10 minutes, so I'm probably gonna give it about 10 minutes of driving, kind of see what happens, and probably drive it around quite a bit actually, get that transmission warmed up. Anything that's settled, get the flush out. And I have enough fluid here to drop it one more time and then fill it again. So let's get this filled the rest of the way, battery back in, let's go for a drive. All right guys, a little dark in here, but I've been driving for about 10 minutes now. I had a little bit of scare, got about 4,000 RPMs before it hit 6th gear and shifted right through it. It feels a lot better. It does have like a little bit of a rumble at idle, and then it feels like it needs new plugs, and that'll get added to the list. I'll check those out. It probably needs those. I'm gonna keep driving this around a little bit, really make sure I cycle all that fluid through, and then I'm gonna take it home, and then I'll be done for the day. I'll let it cool down again, and then they say you should drain it while it's warm because it's thinner and everything, but I want to let as much settle back to where I can drain it as I can. I don't know if that's right, but that's what I've heard people say, so I don't know. I'm gonna do that. I do only have about 6 quarts left, and I need another 0.7. I'm gonna have to go buy another quart at the store to fill this back up. But there's an ambulance in front of me. That is bright red lights. I'm gonna drive this around a little bit more, and then if anything happens, I'll check back in. If not, I'll see you tomorrow, guys. All right, she just did it again. I was giving her some juice there. I was getting her going and getting her really warmed up, and it downshifted to 3rd, and then I felt it hit. So I'm gonna get this home, I'm gonna scan it, we're gonna take a look at it, and let's see what this code is. I bet you it's gonna be the same thing. It very well could have some more metal shavings on it. We could have definitely kicked something up from there, and it very well could still be the issue. It's getting coated with little pieces of metal causing this issue. As you can see right now, I'm giving it gas, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm slowly accelerating. Yeah, I gotta get this home, and it just took me that long to turn a corner. I'm gonna get this home, and we'll take a look and see what's going on here. All right, so got it back home, and I went through and I pulled that sensor back out to check it again, and it had some stuff on it, but it wasn't like it was before. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna let it sit here tonight. I'm gonna think about what to do. If I need to replace that sensor, unfortunately, the connector is on the inside. The harness is, because it plugs into the TCM. So I would need to take the battery back out, the battery tray, get to those bolts from the top, from the bottom, pull it out until I see the connector for it, replace it, put it back together, torque it, whatever it needs, and then refill it with trans fluid. And here's the thing. I could drain the trans fluid one more time, fill it again, reset the codes, drive, and it might go away. At the same time, that sensor is only like 60 bucks, and I already just spent like 130 on transmission fluid. Do I really want to waste more transmission fluid and then have to buy even more after that? All right, we're back a few days later, and I've decided to start pulling the front of the transmission off, the cover, so that I can get to that sensor and just replace it. I've already, as you just saw, I dropped the transmission fluid and I put new stuff in, and I still got the issue. I don't think it's going to be a transmission fluid issue. I don't think that's possible anymore. I think it's going to be that sensor. So we're going to go ahead and just pull it apart, get that sensor out. I'm not going to waste more transmission fluid trying to flush it again and then have to buy more when I have to change the sensor probably anyway. So I'm just going to get a new sensor, pull this one out, put the new one in, fill it with fluid, and then do a relearn with the scan tool and then drive it around. So first thing we need to do is pop the hood and get the battery out again. So we'll go ahead and hit that, and then we'll get everything out of the way so we can get to the bolts. They say you should take off the front bumper to get to the cover. You take out the front bumper, you take out the radiator, all that. But you can get to the bolts from the top side and the bottom side and just You don't have a lot of space, but you should be fine. So we're gonna go ahead and try that, and we'll see what happens. Okay guys, it's been 2.5 hours, and I just really got into this. There's no space to record anything in there, just enough room. I got some stuff out of the trans, I got the cover off, I got the solenoids out, I got the TCM out, I got that out. And then I went and I pulled out the faulty sensor. I pulled out this piece of crap that was in there. It mounts externally to the trans like this, as you saw in the video. The connector is inside here. So we're gonna be right back. I'm gonna go to AutoZone and I'm gonna pick up the new one, and then we're gonna get it installed. Got the new one. So let's go ahead and get this installed, and we're gonna reassemble the whole thing, refill it with fluid, and then from there, we're gonna try to drive it, see what happens. I should have actually got some more transmission fluid when I was there, now that I think about it. Whatever, I'll be fine. So let's go ahead and get this back in, and I'll check back in with you guys in a minute. All right, and now I got the trans put back together. I'm putting in the rest of the fluid right now. I had to go get some more. I was actually slightly shy. I only had just under 6 quarts, and it sat there and drained a little bit. So probably about 5.8 quarts in there, and need about half more quarts. So I'm gonna go dump this in, and then I'm gonna get the battery tray back in, get the battery reconnected, connect the scanner, and then once I reconnect the scanner, we are going to do a trans relearn. That's good, I think. We'll do a trans relearn, and then we'll let it warm up for a little bit. We'll take it for its drive, and we'll see how it goes. So we'll be right back, guys. What's up, guys? It's a couple days later. As you can tell, I'm kind of tired. It's been frustrating. I made a mistake. I took it apart, put the new sensor in, put it all back together, refilled the fluid, put it in reverse, moved it out of the garage, went to put it in drive, and nothing. Doesn't move in drive. I forgot to put this piece back in, and that is a little piece that clips in inside the transmission, and it keeps fluid in here so it can build pressure and put the car in drive, I believe, according to the documents I found. So I have to move the battery case, unhook the ECU, drain the transmission again, take it back apart just to where that piece goes in, put that back in, and then reverse the order all the way back. And I'm gonna catch this transmission fluid I just used. It's brand new. It only got used to move the car in reverse. I clean out my pan, and when cleaning out my pan, I was dumping the transmission fluid, and I heard a thunk, and I got really scared because I found this in the transmission fluid, and I was freaking out until I remembered I had bearings on my desk, and I knocked them into the fluid the other day, and apparently only one made it into the fluid. So I almost had a heart attack because I didn't want to have to change the whole transmission. So this is the next day. I was going over the footage of how I misconnected one of the parts, and realized that it just focused on the radiator coolant hose. So I'm gonna get back in here. I don't remember exactly what this part is called, but let's go ahead and zoom in right here, this metal piece. I had this undone, and it was pushed over to the side. It's kind of hard to do because I have it connected correctly now, but it was pushed over, and this metal piece was sitting on this side, and that caused the issues for me. Now I've got it set in there correctly, and it doesn't have the tension. I'm able to plug in the connectors just fine. So I'm gonna finish hooking the whole transmission cover back up. I'm gonna put fluid back into it, and we're gonna try to move the car and see what happens. So this will only take me a couple minutes now. I got it started yesterday. I just ran out of time. I don't have much time after work to work on this stuff, so I get as much done as quick as I can during that time, which is probably why I forgot that piece anyway. And again, like I said, if you're doing this after work in your day job, you're tired, you work 9-10 hours, always double check everything. It's gonna take more time, but in the end it's gonna save you more money. And we'll be back in a second. Alright guys, so I got the car started up, everything is reconnected. I'm gonna put it in reverse, see if we go in reverse, and then we're gonna try drive. So first up, reverse, doors made the noise, dashboard says R, that looks good. Give it a second. I had this issue last time where it took a second to go in reverse. There we go. And pull out, brake, and let's see if it goes in the drive. Drive this time. Let's see. It takes a second to go in the drive, I think. Let's see what happens. I'm moving in drive, guys. Not a good sign. This will be the end of this video, guys. And comment, subscribe, like, let me know what you think about this video, guys. Let me know what you think is gonna happen, and I'll see you in the next one.